Hello and welcome to the Flipping and Wholesaling Houses in New York show. I am Michael Pinter, where I teach you how to start flipping and wholesaling houses. Oh, my desk is so messy and it's all in view. Sorry. Where I teach you how to start flipping or wholesaling houses in New York, or if you're already doing, how to grow your business. Now, um, got a very general question: how much are closing costs on a refinance? So it's very general because there are a lot of different types of refinances. For instance, if you are refinancing a commercial property, the cost can be huge. It can be several points. Legal fees can be exorbitant. It depends on the size of the refinance. But let's take a ordinary residential refinance, right? And I do these sometimes because I usually borrow hard money when I buy a property because it needs hard money, can't get a regular loan, and sometimes I will refinance it um, into a regular loan to pay off the hard money lender. And just explain why. People think hard money, oh, it's terrible. I'm going to pay 10%, 12%. The interest rate isn't really the problem with hard money. Obviously, you don't want to pay more interest. Nobody does. The issue is with hard money that they want to be paid off in about a year, right? Some of them will extend another year, but it's not a long-term loan. No hard money lender wants to keep their money out there for a long time. They want to be paid back. People think, oh, hard money lender wants to take the property. No hard money lender wants to take the property. And hard money lenders don't want you to be sitting out there for a long time, even if you're making payments. They want their loans paid off. They turn it. They usually are points that are paid, and that's really where they make a lot of their money is on the points. A lot of these lenders, I know we're getting a little off the topic. A lot of these lenders are borrowing the money, right? They may be borrowing at a spread, so maybe they borrow at 6% and they're lending it to you at 10% or 12%, or they may even be borrowing at a much higher rate, like 9%, but they make their money when they turn, and these are short-term loans, so they make their money on points. So usually it's typical to have a hard money loan have 2 points. Just to explain, a point is 1% of the loan amount. So if I'm borrowing $400,000, if I'm paying 2 points, it's an $8,000 fee, and I don't have to write a check for that. It just gets net funded. So on a $400,000 loan with 2 points, instead of them sending me $400,000, they're going to send me $392,000. They're going to take their points out, net funding it. Now, let's get back to closing costs. Let's say on a regular residential property. So, how much are they going to be? So, let's talk about what the biggest parts of the costs are. The biggest parts of the costs are going to be title fees, right? In New York, title charges suck. They're super high, and it's not atypical for a title company to take $3,000 in search fees and departmental fees. Obviously, it depends on the amount of the loan that they're insuring. It also depends if you're taking an owner's policy. So let's explain what that means. So I'm buying a house for $400,000. I'm taking a loan for $300,000. The lender's going to want title insurance for $300,000, and then I have an option whether I can take an owner's policy for $100,000. Now, it's always a good idea to take an owner's policy if you're going to have the property long term. Let's explain what title insurance is. Title insurance ensures that if there's any kind of problem, that you buy a property and then you find out, well, you don't have the property. So if a Native American shows up and says, this is my grandfather's reservation, I'm taking the property back, and he can prove it, the insurance company, you're paying for an insurance policy, is going to refund you the money. Now, unfortunately, they don't refund it that day. I've unfortunately made several title claims for situations where there was a problem. It does take time, but they can pay it off over time. They will pay it off eventually. Now, so understand what I said about an owner's policy. So you're going to pay for almost every lender that's going to lend you money is going to insist that they are insured for their loan amount. The question is whether the down payment, the rest of the money, you're going to be insured as an owner, and you should be in most cases if it's going to be a long-term loan. Now, that's the biggest component. So also any taxes that are due within, let's say, 60 to 90 days are going to be paid also. So that's going to be taken out at the closing. Now, some places like Suffolk, where taxes, some places are paid once a year, that could be a huge bill. That could be $14,000 bill. You're going to have to pay at the closing. Um, and if let's say it's due in 2 months, then the seller is going to simply, let's say it's due in 2 months, you're going to pay the whole thing. But let's say it was due 2 months ago and the seller paid it, then you're going to pay 2 months to him because he prepaid the taxes for you, and then you'll pay the taxes when they're due. But understand, taxes can be significant, right? And in a lot of places in Nassau County, there's multiple taxes. There's school tax, there's general tax, or they call it town tax. Then there's maybe village tax. There's all kinds of taxes, and sorry, I got a lot of notifications showing up. So you got to pay that, and if any of them are due soon, the title company is going to take it. Then you are going to have any kind of lender fees, right? So It's not atypical for a lender to charge $1,000 or $1,500 and other bullshit fees. You probably paid for the appraisal up front was $500. And what else are you going to have? So any taxes that are due, and also prepaid interest. So if you whatever month you close on, if you close, let's say on the first of the month, you're going to pay a whole month of interest at the closing, and then your interest is going to be due not the next month, but the month after. So what are we today? We're November 4th. If I closed on a refinance today, on a regular standard refinance with a Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac lender, with a Wells Fargo or Bank of America, for example, I'd have to pay 27 days of interest for November, and my first payment would not be due in December, it would be due in January, right? Because interest is always paid in arrears. But that can add up, right? If it's a bigger loan, it's going to be more interest, so you have to pay short-term interest. What else? I was in the mortgage business for a long time. I'm trying to remember what other fees are there going to be. Oh, in New York, you have to pay mortgage tax. That's fun. So outside of New York City, it's 1% of the loan amount. So I'm taking a mortgage of $400,000. It's going to be about $4,000. In the 5 boroughs of New York City, it's 2%. Right? There is a way to sort of avoid that by doing a CEMA, Consolidation Extension Modification Agreement, which will save you the mortgage tax, except on new money. So let me give you an example, and I'll tell you why sometimes it's not a good idea, and people don't even understand why it's not a good idea. So if I have a loan existing balance of $300,000, and now I'm taking a loan, and I'm not even taking any cash out, I'm taking $320,000 to cover my closing costs, right? Because closing costs could be $20,000. Like I said, if there's a tax payment due soon, I'm gonna have to cover that out of the closing. So I will do a consolidation extension modification agreement, a CEMA agreement, which means I will not pay mortgage tax on the other $300,000, but I am going to pay mortgage tax on $20,000, which is very small. The problem is, and this is what people don't tell you, the recording fees for the freaking CEMA. Their CEMA is huge. It's a huge document, and then they reference the old mortgage and reference the old note, and recording fees like in Nassau County can be $1,000 just for that. You may pay an attorney an additional, I don't know, $1,000 to do it. So you can pay $2,000 for CEMA. You would have just paid $4,000 in the mortgage tax. You have to think about whether it's worth it. Also, the CEMA takes time because they need to go get the documents from your existing lender, and sometimes they don't give it. Sometimes they don't have an original note, and you need an affidavit that there's a new note, and you get to record a copy of the mortgage, an original mortgage, all kinds of stupid stuff. I remember going through this. Sometimes we do the math, and it was almost a break-even point. So trying to avoid mortgage tax is a good thing, but you got to really do the numbers and see how much it's going to cost to avoid the mortgage tax. If it's similar to paying the mortgage tax, just pay the freaking mortgage tax. It's a lot easier. Okay. What other parts of closing costs are there going to be for refinance? I know I'm missing something. You have lender fees, you have title fees, taxes that are due. That's probably it. So, listen, you have to really ask your lender, give you an estimate of fees, right? If the lender's charging points, which happens, you have to figure in that point. So if there's if you're getting a $300,000 loan and the lender's charging you 1 point, I'm not talking about a hard money lender, I'm talking about any lender, then that's $3,000. That's an additional closing cost. So I think I used to use a closing cost calculator from Madison Title. They were pretty good. It was relatively helpful. Gave me some numbers that I didn't know. But there is no real hard and fast rule. And I know people go online and they say, oh, closing costs are 2%. If you're looking at any person from out of New York about how much the closing costs are, you're wasting your time. Closing costs out of New York are infinitesimally small. I speak to people, they close at $600 total closing costs. Ridiculous. $300 total closing. Ridiculous, right? You can't even get out of bed for any number like that in New York. So in New York, it's going to be relatively significant, but it depends on the situation. Are you paying mortgage tax? How much are the lender fees, right? Different lenders are going to charge different fees. Is there a huge tax payment due? These are things that you have to know. So all those things go into figuring it out. There is no hard and fast rule. It's 2%, it's 3%, it's 4%. That's all bullshit. You need to actually look at each deal, the size of the deal, the place of the deal, the lender on the deal, and there is no easy way to figure it out. I wish I could be more helpful, but the truth is, I promise you, maybe Madison Title still has a closing cost calculator. I gotta look it up. Let me look at it now. Let me just do a quick search. I don't know if it's still there. 1 second. Let's see if it works. Title fees calculator. Oh, so it's giving you just their title fees. That's helpful. They'll tell you what their fees are. So I hope this is helpful. If you want to know all the ways I can help you, go to howtoflipnewyork.com. If you are interested in finding out more about my course that teaches how to do what I do, go to howtoflipnewyorkcourse.com. If you are interested in finding out more about one-on-one coaching that I offer, go to coaching.howtoflipnewyork.com. If you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe. If you're watching on any platform, please click the thumbs up. The likes really help me. Please keep the comments going. I post 5 times a week. I don't always know what to say. So your comments help me, and a comment can be about anything. Doesn't even have to be about the video you're watching. If you have it's a simple answer to it, I'll just reply to it. If it's something I've covered before, I'll send a link to a video. And if it's something new, I will do a new video on it. So thank you very, very much for watching.